If you think about it, throwing a ball is an incredible display of athleticism, coordination, and power. If you've been throwing for a while, you might take this for granted. But don't forget, we all started out throwing something like this. Professional baseball players generate over 350 horsepower of force through their shoulder. 350. For us rookies, it might not be as much, but there's still a significant amount of forces at play. And all the muscles around the shoulder have to come on at just the right time to transfer that energy into the ball, but generating that force is just one side of the equation. Basic physics tells us that if we want to generate and transfer power, we have to have an equal measure of stability. We probably all know that girl that has a cannon from the outfield that had to sit out the season because she's a labral tear because the forces she was putting on her shoulder were so great that something snapped. There's probably more injuries like this that we don't hear about. A study found that 83% of players had asymptomatic labral tears. That means that they had labral tears, but they didn't have any pain or symptoms that went with their labral tears. In the first two videos in this series, we talked about the pillars of a strong throw and how to develop power. But if you want to be able to use that power and stay off the bench, you have to develop stability. Where does stability come from? I'm glad you asked. The rotator cuff is a group of key muscles that help provide stability. This is a bit technical, but basically it helps center your humeral head in the fossa. Basically, it helps hold your shoulder in a good position through the very short duration of your throw. Weakness here can cause tears or even dislocations. Here is one of the best rotator cuff strengthening exercises measured by EMG. That's just a fancy way of measuring muscle activation that's on the market today. As a bonus, I add in a little glute strengthening exercise to work on your posterior power. Here's an idea of how you can make a little plyometric out of it. The second important stabilizer is your scapula. Your scapula is your placeholder for your shoulder. Think of it like your tee in golf. The tee is designed to hold the ball upright until you hit it with a club. But imagine if your tee is tilted, it's easy for the ball to fall off the tee. The same thing is true of our scapula. If we don't strengthen our scapula to maintain good positioning, it compromises the health of our shoulder. This exercise is called a wall slide. Make sure as you do this, you're really pressing your elbows into the wall as you drive up to avoid activating your upper traps, which is already an overworked muscle in softball players. Before we get to the last element of stability, we've covered a lot of information in the last 3 videos, and you might be thinking, Emily, just tell me what I need to do. I've put together a training program specifically for softball players that weaves together all these concepts of athletic performance and injury prevention. It's a program you can do year-round and know you're working on the right things that will give you results on the field. You can get more info and sign up at baselinemx.com. The last critical component is single arm stability. Remember, we need all of our muscles to come on at just the right time so we can generate 350 horsepower of force through our shoulder. Here's a great exercise to work on your single arm stability. You can add efficiency by working on multiple things at the same time. You can even add in some shoulder plyo work while you're working on your single arm stability. We've covered a lot of things that you should do to develop a more powerful throw. But as a physical therapist who's seen thousands of injured softball players, I have some pretty strong opinions about what you should not do. So the last video in this series is going to be things you should avoid in the weight room to avoid injury and how you can be more effective with your time. Thanks for watching.